awesome lineup of speakers today. What I love about this lineup, there's no satellite speakers inside. We have airlines and shipping companies. We finally get the end user perspective in satellite. So let me introduce our speakers. We have Moacyr Camilotti, who is the Director of Network Connectivity Operations Governance at Carnival Cruise Lines. Next to Moacyr, we have Latta, Managing Director of Inflight Connectivity at Delta Airlines. Next to Glenn, we have Despina, Panayiotou, Theodosiou, I hope I've somewhat pronounced your name correctly, who's the Managing Director of Tototheo Maritime. And last but definitely not least, a good friend of mine, André, who's the Manager of In-Flight Wi-Fi and Analytics for Air Canada. So we absolutely have a really crazy panel full of big shipping companies, service providers, and airlines. So this is going to be great. So my first question, and we are going to open it up to the audience relatively soon, so if you've got questions, start thinking about them relatively soon. You're all end users. I mean, you're not the satellite company, even Despina, you're a service provider. Could you explain exponentially how your needs for satellite connectivity have increased, as well as your plans to use satellite-based connectivity in the future? And let's just go down the panel. Moacyr, we'll
start with me?
Yeah, we'll start with
you. Can you guys hear me? Yeah, okay. Hi, everyone. Well, I would say day to day, I don't use much satellite connectivity myself, right? You said as an end user, right? Maybe I use, but I don't know, right? But I will just tell a story, right? Last year, we rent an RV. We are doing a trip to California. And the RV had a Starlink antenna. And we are going through the Death Valley. And no connection, no cell phone, nothing. And we are still connected and sending pictures to family and friends. So definitely I'll do that again. And with the promise of the new constellations, with the promise that I was going to have smaller antennas, even more powerful, for sure we have one with me when I go, right? Everywhere I go, I can have one with me and use it for sure, yeah.
So what about let me go back to the Carnival perspective. Yeah. What's the sort of the connectivity roadmap and the use of satellite now?
On the future?
Yeah.
Well, I think whatever we look is a home-like experience, right? For guests and crew. More capacity for sure, much more capacity, better optimization, mix of constellations for sure. We are already using all the 3 constellations today, GEO, MEO, and LEO as well.
Yeah.
I think a good thing we see going forward, we wanted the ship to be able to identify the best provider based on, of course, data that we are collecting nowadays, right? And identify the best provider for that region where we are crossing, where we are sailing, and choose that provider instead of other ones. So mainly to target the home-like experience for the guests and crew. Not just guests and crew, right? Very important that as well. Yep.
Okay, so for us and looking at our passengers, it's like all of us here, right? Connectivity is not optional. We want it to work like we use it at home and in the office, and to be reliable. And so our challenge as an airline is to make sure that we can do that at 30,000 fleet, 500 miles an hour, make sure that we can point at the satellite and deliver internet to every passenger on board so that you can stream, you can use your apps, you can experience connectivity like you would on the ground. What we're doing to leverage that is we're integrating that with our in-flight entertainment experience. We have over 150,000 screens, 1,000 hours of entertainment, and we're personalizing not only the IFC experience, but we're using connectivity as the foundation to personalize and integrate with our entertainment experience.
Despina, I know you come at it from a slightly different angle, so tell us a little bit about how you see it in, say, the commercial shipping area.
Exactly. So we are service providers to mainly commercial shipping. So it has been a very big change for us, especially in the last couple of years. It's well known that merchant shipping was not known for its acceptance of new technologies. I think we can challenge that narrative now. So we see many changes coming because of the advancements on LEO, We see a great uptake of digital solutions from merchant shipping. We also see a lot of investment in IT infrastructure on board ships. And we are also seeing the use of hybrid connectivity solutions. Ship owners and ship operators are trying to find what works best for them. And it doesn't mean that it's one solution. I think the one-size-fits-all solution is no longer the case for us. And how we see the future and what we bring value as providers as well is, orchestration of these different networks that can be very diverse. And what we bring is that we manage them in order for our customers to get the best out of them.
So let's get another airline perspective. I know Air Canada's been doing some pretty interesting things in this area. Can you give us an update, André?
Yeah, hello everyone. So at Air Canada, our focus is really just understanding what the passenger wants. Since 2019, comparing that to 23, we saw a more than double the amount of users connected on board our aircraft. So it's very important that demand is growing. As airlines start announcing that they're going to free, for example, it becomes a question about capacity, and is there enough capacity in the market to support that, not only at the Air Canada level, but just sort of across the network. So we're really pivoting to understand what technology is the best, how we're going to support that in the future, today and in the future, and what we need to make sure that we're investing into that so that we're successful not just today but for tomorrow. So it's going to be a combination of understanding, LEO, GEO, MEO, what the best solution is. Is it a hybrid solution? Is it a one sort of direction? Is it just LEO or just the GEO, for example? And really understanding what that looks like for us.
I'll come on to that a little bit more in a minute. I mean, I wanted to ask the question, where we've seen a number of high-profile customers, even ones on this panel, move to Starlink in recent times. What kind of influence do you think Starlink is having on the maritime and aviation markets? And how is it affecting?
Wow, it's a huge impact for sure. What do you think about a lot of capacity globally and a lower cost? So it changed the way we look for connectivity, right? It changed the way we think about to provide the connectivity for the ships. Make it much easier for us, of course, and help us to get the home-like experience more, real, right? Definitely it is a change the way we do connectivity on board for sure. Yeah.
Let me get the airline perspective. I'll go to let me go to André, then Glenn, and then we'll get the commercial shipping on this in the influence of Starling.
I think they're definitely challenging the status quo for sure. They are raising the bar and challenging current satellite providers or connectivity providers to think different, and also providing airlines an opportunity to get a different perspective of what's out there, not just the status quo. And I think that's huge. I think they're disrupting the market tremendously, and it'll be very interesting to see what they do and how they do it. I think their biggest challenge right now, and maybe not challenge is not the right word, but getting the STCs and getting certifications on a wider array of aircraft, so that it's not just 2 or 3 right now, which is the conversation, but getting it across the board so that airlines actually have the opportunity to select them, but select them for more than just one fleet.
So when we look at this and we look at an investment on our aircraft, given the complexity of installing connectivity on the aircraft, we have to look at a long life cycle for that. So something like 7 or 10 years. So when we look at the new technologies, obviously LEOs have lower latency. Lower latency is better than higher latency. But that is only one element of delivering a holistic experience. So we start with the experience, and then we design the experience, and then we evaluate the providers and their technologies against the ability to deliver that experience over a long period of time. So it's more than latency, it's all aspects of that experience that have to be delivered reliably.
So we are also providing Starling, and we have also contracted satellite operators that are GEO for many years. So what has been very prominent for us is to see how quick the uptake was. We did not expect this rapid change. We were used to the customers needing some time to adapt to it. That was definitely not the case. Starling is definitely changing the landscape, especially in commercial shipping. It's also kind of democratizing access to connectivity, especially for smaller companies and smaller ships that were not able to have speeds like this. For merchant shipping, where there is a little bit of trouble, is licensing issues because commercial shipping is global. But apart from that, I think Starling is doing a great job getting their message across and their service across. And for us as service providers, if we do not innovate and adapt to this change, there will be no place for us in the industry very soon. So I think they are disrupting the industry, but that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Okay. I'm going to ask one more question, and I'm going to open it up early. We've got a really great audience here. I want to make sure you get some of your questions available. So I'm going to ask one more question, and then if you've got questions, we'll open it up. I mean, we had a telco panel this morning. Again, we had lots of end users on the telco community talk about some of their frustrations when working with the satellite industry. So one of the reasons for getting a panel of end users together is to get the perspective of what you think of the satellite industry and how they can do better. So what is your number one frustration challenge when dealing with the lovely satellite industry, and what could they do better? Despina, I'm going to start with you for this one.
Okay, I alluded to it a little bit before. I would say until recently, one of our challenges was that the satellite industry's pace of innovation was not as fast as other technology sectors, but the last years has shown us that we need to be careful what we wish for. We've seen a lot of change, especially for our part of the industry. I think regulation issues and licensing issues are what are causing us a little bit of a frustration because our customers are global. So having issues in certain parts of the world is delaying our access to those regions. It's costing money not only for the operators but service providers as well. So I think that is one of our challenges.
Moacyr, I'm going to go to you next, and then we'll go to the airlines and the panel.
Ooh, what should I say? I think customer support for sure. I think better tools, more visibility on their side. I think definitely something they could improve. And it's not specific to one another, it's general across. That's my point of view.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so for us, it's really the dichotomy of continuous innovation. Delta leads the industry in IFEC. We want to lead in innovation and delivering the best customer experience. But the complexity of the aircraft and that system on the aircraft, we would like to maintain without much modification. We can't go to the aircraft frequently, change hardware, and do that efficiently. So what we'd like from the industry is to put the changes in the network as opposed to the terminal that we put on the aircraft so that we can continually innovate but minimize the impact on the aircraft system.
I mean, same answer as everyone on the panel. It's innovation, right? It's a little bit slower, and I think it is picking up, but it's not sort of at the pace where it needs to be, where it's delivering. I think the end user, which is the airline or cruise companies, what we need in a timely manner to stay ahead of certain curves. So innovation for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Do we have the mics ready? Because I'm going to open it up if anyone's got some questions. We've got a couple down here, and we've got three already.
You promised.
Thank you. So I'm from X Alpha AI. I'm an AI startup company. So I'm wondering.
Sorry.
We cannot hear.
Hello. Yeah, good.
There we go.
I'm from X Alpha AI, and I'm an AI startup company. I want to know if how can AI help the connectivity in your industry?
So I think how AI can help connectivity in the industry?
Yeah, in different industries.
Okay, that's an interesting question. Anyone got some thoughts on that one?
I think AI can help in several different areas, right? Operationally, internal for us, for sure, we can maybe use AI, and Carnival is already doing that actually, to better support the customers or the cruisers, right? That's definitely something. And other, I think the providers itself, right? The satellite providers and all, they could use AI to better service or incident management or, fault correlation, a lot of other stuff that they can do to benefit the end user as well. So, yeah.
I think there are many applications that could be used for remote monitoring, for safety, there could be many applications, but we also need to be, I believe, a little bit careful, especially when it comes to merchant shipping. For example, in Europe, just very recently, we had the EU Artificial Intelligence Act. It doesn't necessarily focus on shipping, but it does focus on core industries. And as merchant shipping is a core industry for global trade, we feel that very soon that will start affecting AI applications in shipping as well. So for us, we also develop technology within our company. We are definitely looking into these solutions and AI, and we're very excited about the prospects. But at the same time, we are very careful with how we use them in applications for our customers. Thank you.
Okay.
Well, I think also in looking at usage patterns and predicting bandwidth usage, different applications associated with that, and then looking at peak demand.
Hi guys, how's everybody? Hope everybody's enjoying the satellite show. My name's Kitsan, I'm with Neuron. So my question is, there's a lot of talk about innovation, as you're saying, and there's a lot of talk about visibility into the performance of networks. So what type of tools in-house or external partnerships do you have that actually open up the visibility that you need and use AI to drive, okay, let's use this network in this area, this is the type of solution we need here, and tying it back to quality of experience or customer feedback scores? How do you get that all in one place per se, or what's the best way to manage that?
Who wants to go first?
I'll pretend to answer this one. I mean, I'll try. I think, for Air Canada specifically, it's an area that we don't have a lot of visibility on. It's an area that we need a little bit more visibility on to better understand how the network's performing within the cabin itself, right? I mean, sending a signal to a plane is one thing, but understanding how it performs in the cabin itself is a different story, which I don't think I'll say we don't have visibility on as much as we'd like to, and I don't think a lot of other companies, airlines specifically, have a lot of that visibility. So I think there are a few different organizations that are sort of rearing their head and stepping into the space, Neuron being one of them, of course, as you're from. I know Seamless Airlines is another one that's coming up, and they're sort of doing some work in this space as well. But it's super important. I think AA could be used exactly in this region to better provide the airlines with better tools to equip themselves to protect themselves with SLAs and whatever it may be, so that the service provider is not the sort of holder of that, that relationship. So flipping it on its head a little bit to give the airlines a little bit more strength and power in that conversation.
I think we know more than we knew one year ago, let's say, today, right? And but we still have a lot to learn. So Carnival has a very long partnership with Neuron as well. So pretty much Neuron gives us a lot of visibility on board today. So to be a point that you can understand the quality of experience of the end user and choose the best path that you can use it to send the traffic across. So, and as I said before, we use everything is available out there. So we use LEO, MEO, GEO. So different regions, one perform better than others. So, and Neuron definitely helping us to visualize all this and take actions to make sure guests and crew are getting the best performance on board. Yeah.
I think one other thing that we have to keep in mind is regardless of these tools and SLAs, that there are two other items that are really critically important. One is that we share all that information with our provider so that we collectively work together to solve the problems.
Yeah.
It's not an us versus them. And the other piece of that, at the end of the day, what we're all trying to do is build brand loyalty, and we need the direct feedback from our customers. In our case, we use NPS to really grade our final paper to see, regardless of what all of these other metrics mean, are we meeting the value proposition of our customers? And we all know, given COVID and the impact of COVID, that value proposition can change based on the dynamics that we all experience.
Okay, I wanted to, you made a very good point about collaboration, and I think that's something we don't discuss often enough. I think things are definitely changing with all the new technologies that we can take advantage of, and collaboration is very important, and also being more transparent. That's something, at least in commercial shipping, that we not had an issue with, but it was very difficult because of great competition among the players there. But we see that with more technology, with AI, with use of data, with increasing digitalization, everybody's coming to the realization that if there's no collaboration, if there's no transparency, it's not going to take us forward. So I really agree with that point.
No, that's great. I just want to give a quick shout out to Kidson as well, because Kidson's helped me put this panel together and was a great source of advice. So big appreciation. It really is. It
Thank
really
you.
is. Do we have a question, Peter?
Hi, this is really for Glenn. You pivoted away from Viasat with your decision to go with Hughes, and I was curious, in that process, were you thinking about a terminal that could perhaps roam between Viasat and Hughes in the long term?
Can you repeat it, because it's hard to hear?
Okay,
Hold the
sorry.
microphone a little closer.
Yeah, when you made a decision to move away from Viasat in your recent equipage on aircraft Hughes kit, and I was curious, in that process, were you looking at a terminal that could have roamed between Viasat and Hughes? Because it looks like you've ended up with a terminal that's more on the Hughes side, and then also some of your competitors have been embracing a LEO, especially for smaller aircraft. And do you have any plans for a LEO solution in the near term?
So good question. Let me just clarify. We are not moving away from Viasat, right? We're very happy with our partnership with Viasat, and they're now delivering free on over 700 aircraft. When we look at each fleet as we go forward, we want to continue to look at those specific requirements for those fleets so that we can continue to innovate and lead. And in the case of our regional and 717 aircraft, we needed a system that met a unique requirement, two unique requirements. We want to deliver the same customer experience as we're delivering on mainline, but we had to do it with a fairly severe constraint around weight. And Hughes had a system that would do both of those. So that's really why we selected Hughes for that fleet type. And in terms of LEO, right, obviously, LEO has an advantage in latency. But for Delta and our scale, we have to look at all aspects: logistics, certification, can you deliver over a hub in the rain? All of those elements that are part of us designing the experience and then validating, can that experience be delivered in all aspects of our goal to satisfy the customer? So we'll continue to do that as we have new fleets come on board. We'll continue to look at new technology, but it's going to be in the view of a holistic nature of delivering our CX.
Okay. Do we have any more questions from the audience at the moment?
I think that the increased points of contact, connectivity, data are as amazing, as beautiful as this panel is. I'm curious how you think about data privacy and cybersecurity within that context, and where does the liability lie as this ecosystem continues to evolve?
I mean, my easy answer is that thankfully I'm not equipped to deal with that. And so I get a little bit of a let. I know that our teams are obviously constantly working to make sure that we have passengers' privacy in check and that there's no data breaches. But that being said, it's an area that I thankfully am not an expert in. So I know they're working on it. I know it's going to help my panelists can help answer that question. But yeah, I'm bowing out.
I think I see cyber attacks, right? Let's call it that way. Cyber attacks more related to the way you do your cybersecurity than the technology or the number of people you connect on board, right? In our case. So if you're doing your cybersecurity properly, of course, you're gonna be protecting everything there. In Carnival, every year we spend millions of dollars on that, and to be ready to protect our assets and also guests and crew data, right? For sure, yeah. But it's a very good question. Yeah.
So for us, we look at the IFC as just another part of the corporate network, and we evaluate it and its protection equivalently.
Okay, again, it's commercial shipping is very different. It wasn't that much connected and it didn't have that much digitalization only a few years back. So we see a lot of investment now from ship operators because they start to realize what this constant connection means to them, and that they may be more open to threat. Again, there's no passengers, there's crew. We have many advancements now. I mean, we have satellite to mobile connectivity now. So I think the threat, if I can say, becomes broader and broader. But I think that's where also the realization comes, at least for commercial shipping, and it's something we talk about. There had to be culture change as well. It was not something that was considered from many of the shipping operators now. It's there, it's at the forefront. There needs to be training for crew, and this is what we do. But also, I think very soon, at least for commercial shipping, we are going to have to deal with data privacy issues and perhaps new regulation coming in for crew specifically. It's not something that was dealt with. So I believe there's going to be a lot of discussion and a lot of changes when it comes to cybersecurity for commercial shipping.
A good question. I'm going to ask another question, and then if there's any more questions, we'll get to them as well. What is on your sort of connectivity roadmap over the next 2 years? It's no longer a new conversation. We've been talking about this, I think, with all of your companies over the last 5 to 10 years, if not longer. So what does the next phase of your connectivity strategy look like? What have you got on deck? What have you got coming up? Despina, I'm going to start with you.
Well, I did mention it before. We're moving towards this model of orchestrating different networks, and we feel that's where our value comes in. We do work with different satellite providers in order to provide our customers the best option for them, but increasingly we're seeing that it's not just one option on board a ship, it could be different ones. So we are seeing this more and more hybrid solutions or requests for hybrid solutions. So managing different networks to get the best for our customers, this is where we see our value. And definitely even more digital solutions, more digital applications, and more investment on IT infrastructure on board ships. This is where we see the industry going, and this is where we're focused as well.
Glenn, obviously Delta made a bit of a splash last year with its announcement. You've been a keynote here. It's great to see Delta at Satellite as well. What's sort of the next phase? I mean, you've made some big announcements here. What does the airline see as its next phase of connectivity?
So there are really two pieces of that. One is the continued rollout of a reliable foundation of connectivity on the rest of our fleet. We're at roughly 700 aircraft now, and we are going to focus on both the international rollout as well as the regional rollout to get us to roughly 1,400 aircraft. And then given that foundation, what we want to do is leverage it to deliver more and more personalized experiences, including with the in-flight entertainment element of our experience. To integrate those two experiences, we have roughly 180 aircraft that will actually deliver through connectivity a personalized entertainment experience. It will welcome you, it will tell you about your journey, it will give you recommendations to continue watching on your next flight. And we're going to continue to roll that out to get to roughly 350 aircraft by the end of the year this year.
André?
For us, it's going to be building up our hardware, making sure that we do upgrades. The key for us, as you know, we talk about free connectivity on certain airlines and how they're rolling that out, and I think it's going to become an industry standard very quickly. But we need the infrastructure to make sure that we can support that. Providing not so great internet for free is just not what we want to do. So our intention is going to be upgrading technology, making sure that we have the right policies in place for our customers so that they have the right experience no matter which aircraft they're flying on. So that's going to be, I think, the immediate work that we're doing. And then, at some point, maybe expanding our sort of free offering to more customers. So right now we have free texting, but we want to do it a little bit bigger than that as well.
I think, as I said before, right, it's pretty much the home-like experience on board of the ships. It's kind of turning the ships to be smart enough to understand how the experience is on board and take the right actions to make sure we provide that experience that we want to. Not just that, right? Make sure the ships are able to inject any new constellation, any new provider, any new player that comes to the market. So we should be ready to inject that to the ecosystem and make sure we control that. And of course, we optimize and take the best out of that. So one challenge we have today is shifting between providers. Sometimes it takes us weeks, right? Because you have to replace the entire below deck equipment by the other provider equipment. So Carnival, kudos to our engineering team. So we developed a vendor neutral solution that is already implemented in a few ships. And by 2025, we're going to have every ship implemented with that. So every ship will be able to easily migrate or inject some new provider in few days, or if not a day, let's say. Yeah. So it will be another game changer for sure. Another thing we are pioneering, and it should be able to help us to overcome this for sure. Yeah, that's where we want to be.
Excellent.
I think what we're seeing from all the answers, although our customers are different, is that the link is becoming commoditized, and what we are trying to do is provide a better experience for our own customers, a more seamless experience, and I think that's how the model is changing from now on, and that's where we need to innovate and provide value add for our customers. In our case, it's the end users. In your case, it's your passengers. But still, I think it's the experience.
Yeah.
Fantastic. We're into the last few minutes. Do we have any more questions from the audience? Oh, we have one over.
Yes. Yes, hello? So I'm very interested in the comments you made, Despina, about the speed of the uptake of new Starling services. What do you think was driving that? Is it something about Starlink, or is it just the changing, the changing environment that we're in, where there's more demand? Can you just talk a little bit more about that?
Definitely the brand name is important, but I wouldn't say that in commercial shipping it's as important. What we saw from our customers, it was the ease of installing the antenna, and definitely that it was very cost efficient compared to other solutions. And I'm not only talking about the connection, but also about the cost of the antenna, the fact that crew can install it themselves. So it was, I would say, much easier and more cost efficient.
Good question.
Yep.
Do we have? Yes. Yeah.
May I ask the airline gentleman that we do think that we have a different antennas on the ship, but for the aircraft, do you think you will be install Starlink or OneWeb antennas additional on right now you are using GEO?
I'll start. Good question. So we are always looking to see what different technologies are out there and what we can support. So Starlink is definitely on our radar. We haven't made any decisions that as it pertains to their technology and their equipment. In terms of LEO, we actually are going to be on our regional aircraft installing the ESA equipment, which is a hybrid of both GEO and LEO, and that's going to be provided with Intelsat partnering with OneWeb. So we do have that in our plans, and that's in our roadmap to happen. I want to say mid this year to start that transition from ATG to ESA.
Yeah, and for us, we're always evaluating and validating technology against can it deliver everything that we've designed for our customers and the experience.
Thank you. We've talked a lot about how we now have multiple options for connectivity and link, and how now we have to focus on, not that we weren't before, but an increased value to focusing on the customer experience. Where do you see the role of the things that are in the airline or shipping line or cruise lines control around software and design and the experience? I mean, Delta's leading the way here, I think, in many ways. But like, how do you see the ways that you can build the customer experience now that you have this reliable control, and how much is there greater value that we provided to the customer from the things that your companies are building, separate from just the technology of having a great link?
I think it's pretty much the optimization, right? It's trying to get the best out of the capacity that you have. It's easy to bring a capacity now, actually, it's easier, right? But just capacity always doesn't resolve the problem. It's just hide the problem what you have. So knowing more about the applications, about what is going through, we are on the next step right now that we're gonna be on the user level. So we're gonna understand exactly on the user device what is happening. So we are able to automate this. We are able to provide them with a better connectivity across, right? So end to end. And loyalty, right? Of course, as soon as you see performance increasing, you see more penetration also from the guests because they are trusting, right? They believe it, they agree, or they are open to pay extra when they can see what the performance they can get. And they are loyal to you next time because the performance on the ship definitely choose or help the guest to choose which company and which ship he's gonna sail with. So yeah, it's all about performance, but it's trying to understand more on the end user device, what's happening there, what is their preferences, what exactly they want to do, and prioritize the traffic across based on that, right?
I agree. It's the end customer experience. We have a very diverse profiles of customers. So our customers could be a small company with 5 ships, and it could be one of the biggest companies in the world that not only own ships, but they have port terminals and have more complex requirements. So we definitely customize a lot of our solutions. We sit down with the customers and try to understand what their challenges are, what the opportunities are for them, what the nuances of their own industries are, and that's how we provide that value add to them. The fact that we listen to them and understand exactly what their needs are.
So how many people have used free Delta internet on an aircraft? Okay, so you could probably relate to what I'm going to describe then, because it's really about brand loyalty, personalization, and value to our customers, right? So since we've launched free, we've gotten 2 million additional SkyMiles members. So I think that is a tangible example of what happens when you offer a good product in this context. And we're offering things to our customers that they would not normally get. Paramount Plus, you can watch it for 24 hours for free, right? Walmart Plus, Resi. I mean, we've got a lot of offers that we're communicating to customers that they can take advantage of, and again, to build that partnership and personalization over time.
I mean, I'm not gonna. We're short on time, but I will say what Glenn is saying is exactly it from an aviation perspective. It's about personalizing it and using connectivity to unlock different things that are not just the norm of a good experience. We want the good experience, but how do we take it further to retain loyalty, to bring in new loyalty? And I mean, as we shift, customers will always look at price point for their ticket, right? That's a given. But there's a level of, even if it's 1 or 2% of customers that will choose an airline specifically for what the ancillary, what the extra is. And if you lose 2% of your customer base, yikes, right? If connectivity and how you innovate with connectivity is going to be the game changer, then you have to decide if that's worth it or not. And it also talks to the ROI and what the value is of bringing in sort of free connectivity and at what levels. So.
Okay, we are literally down to the last minute and a half. I'm going to end on one final question to get a very, very quick response from all of you. I mean, you are sort of end users, different types of end users here, ASC, service provider. Name me sort of one thing that you get out of coming to a satellite show rather than an aviation or a shipping event or a cruise event. Just very quickly, just one lesson learned or one thing you get out of coming to a satellite show. Start with you, Andre. We'll go this way around. We're going to start with you. Sorry, we're going to put you on the spot.
Okay, 2 things.
You
One, I
got
get
him
to sit on a
surprised.
panel, which is great, and you guys have been amazing, so thank you. I think just learning a lot about what really is happening in the sky. It's not just about aviation or cruise-based Wi-Fi or whatnot. It's so much broader than that, and the technologies that are in play are amazing. So it's great.
I think for us it's great to see what's going on in the industry, see what new technologies are coming out, and also it's an opportunity here to nurture those partnerships with associates and partners like satellite operators, other technology companies. It's a fantastic opportunity for us to be here.
Yeah, so I agree. It's about partnerships. We can meet with our current partners, meet with potential future partners, and really establish those relationships one-on-one.
Yeah, same thing, right? Partnership and keep your eyes open on everything that is happening. So we are always open doors to see what is cooking there. So to use whatever it makes sense for us. And also the opportunity to share that with you guys, right? To let you guys know we are looking, we are watching, and we're gonna be playing these games every time they come. So it's all for the end user, right? All for you guys.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I think they deserve a big round of applause. Let's give them a big round of applause.